Also talked to the chair of the committee, Mr. Savera, Gerald Savera. Thank you, appreciate that. And the next meeting of the finance committee, I will ask the auditing committee, will they co-chair with me, and we will talk about the finance. Basically, that is all I have to do, I have to say on my report. Thank you. We're moving right along to resolution. I'm sorry, presentation. She's looking at me so sweet. Come on up, girl. Oh, look at my calling girl.
You're all right. Good evening, everyone. Madam President, council members, thank you so much for your patience, residents. I truly appreciate it. My name is Shayla Turner. I'm coming on behalf of our Executive Director, Dabney Conwell from the East Cleveland Neighborhood Center. And we have had the privilege of being able to speak with Councilman Baker in regards to East Cleveland Neighborhood Center's Freedom Schools program. And I'm not sure if you guys have it on you. Do you have the information in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so a little information about what the Freedom Schools program is. It's a literacy program that is provided inside of 180 communities all over the country, and it's through Children's Defense Fund. The concept is directly from the Mississippi Freedom Summers, and the idea is providing students with literacy development as well as social action, teaching them about how to get engaged in their community. And this program is taught by college-age students. East Cleveland is the only community in the Cleveland area that has ran this program this long consecutively. Wow. This will be our 5th year, so it's something that we're very proud of. We were hosted out of the Windermere Methodist Church, and they were very gracious to us and allowed us to be there throughout the summers. Last year we were also at New Life Cathedral, and when we had flooding incidents, we had the opportunity to be able to be inside of the Helen S. Brown Center. Thanks to a lot of support from our mayor and a lot of support from our council. And so we were able to be in the Helen S. Brown Center last summer. And so this summer what we're asking is we need a space. And with the Helen S. Brown Center currently empty, we're looking to move into that space. We have our own staff, so it will be of no cost to the city. And we'll be willing to come in and be able to pay that rent. We put it on there that we can do $200 a week. And we understand that amount isn't a lot, because this is a program that's completely free of service for our families. So we have 70 families that use this program, and it provides breakfast as well as lunch for the students. And it also leaves, every student that leaves our program leaves with at least 10 books. Wow. So in a community where we don't have a children's bookstore, we want to make sure that we're putting these books back in the hands of our children in our community. So we want to make sure that we're really considering to keep this right here in East Cleveland. And so even as we think of long-term for East Cleveland Neighborhood Center, we have taken that charge very serious on how do we permanently get into the city. And so we're looking at spaces and looking for opportunities. And so the Helen S. Brown Center opens up a greater opportunity to maybe possibly make this a permanent home for East Cleveland Neighborhood Center, and it puts us right back in the heart of the city where we're able to service. Outside of Freedom Schools, East Cleveland Neighborhood Centers, we work with the school district as well as the MyCom network, and so we provide services inside of schools for diversion programming and prevention, and we've been continuing to work with those programs as well as Carrington. So the East Cleveland Neighborhood Center has still been very active with students between ages 7 to 17, as well as our parent advocacy network. But Freedom Schools is one of the biggest things that we need the actual housing for. And Helen S. Brown Center is the only location where we know that we'll be able to not only service them through food with the Cleveland Food Bank, but we will also be able to have the space and capacity to be able to hold all 70 of our students. And so we know that there's a lot of issues that are pressing. We wanted to bring this to the forefront and make sure that this was something that got emergency attention, because in the next few weeks, we'll begin to have conversations with funders about moving outside of East Cleveland. And that is not the goal, and that is definitely nothing that we want to see happen. We want to make sure that we're able to be here so we can service our residents. All right. And so I wanted to open up if you guys have any questions for me or anything that you guys needed to know further about the program. Yes, Councilman Martin.
Yes. Are you in East Cleveland now?
Am I a resident?
The program, no, the East Cleveland The neighborhood center program, is it in East Cleveland now?
Absolutely, yes.
Where?
So Freedom Schools program runs during the summertime.
No, no, my question is not the Freedom School.
Oh, the other programs that
Yes.
we do? Yes, Heritage, we're inside of Heritage Middle School as well as Shaw High School. So we orchestrate the program through MyCom, and we do a program called Youth Council, and that meets inside of Shaw High School. We also do after-school programming and in-school programming inside of Heritage Middle School. So the programs that we implement are right here in the community. It's just for the actual Freedom School, we need a housing area for the students to be able to come and report to. But the staff reports directly to East Cleveland facilities.
So, in your presentation, Shayla, is your name Shayla?
Yes.
You mentioned with $200 a week,
Yes.
so for the summer.
For the summer, yes.
Okay. Right now, to my knowledge, the facility is vacant, so
Right.
it would be foolish in my mind not to have someone there, especially the $200 a week. So you talk about June, July, and August. Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely. It would be June, July, and August. And the program itself runs for 6 weeks, the traditional Freedom Schools program, and then we do an additional 3 weeks where we just focus on teenagers. So altogether, we will be there 9 weeks. Our staff is even willing and committed to come in and do the cleanup, to removal of the file cabinets, to remove, to really get the space ready for the summer. So the sooner we can get in there, the better, because we can actually begin to work through it. Last summer, we were able to purchase 2 refrigerators that we used, and so we left those at Helen S. Brown Center. So those are also there for us to be able to utilize for the summer. So we have all of the resources, all of the books, all of the materials, all of the supplies have already been purchased and brought forth by the East Cleveland Neighborhood Center, as well as the staffing. We just need the space.
Well, I can say to you, I don't have a problem with what you said. I will say that I know over the years that this is something you don't know, that we put a lot of money into that facility. We have. Fortunately, you're gonna do it in the summer, so I don't know if the air conditioners are working there or not. I know in the summer, in the wintertime, if you were to do something there, I can imagine to heat that place would be probably pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But for the summertime, from my knowledge, with the facility being vacant, I think it'd be a plus for the city to have you there, and our kids would be reading and that kind of thing, right?
Absolutely. And so last summer we were inside of the Helen S. Brown Center.
Okay.
So last summer we got an opportunity to be able to even interact with the residents that were there, the different community members that were coming in and out, and the staff was amazing of making sure that we were able to utilize that space. So if you can imagine how hectic it was to have 70 students in there inside of the senior space, but they were very accommodating. We were able to do projects together. And it was something that we really enjoyed doing. And so the beauty of Freedom Schools, it does add a different light to our students. They get to do intergenerational development. They get to learn about how to interact positively with those that are older than them, as well as their community. How do they actually make a difference? So we do town hall meetings inside of Freedom Schools. We've had plenty of times where we're able to have our students talk about what their platforms would be. A lot of their ideas are amazing. I'm waiting for one of them to run for president, but they have, it's been a great opportunity for them to get active in the community, so we want to make sure we're not pulling it from the community that they're from. But
Shayla, I really appreciate you coming and giving us the opportunity to hear you in depth and what you do. At this point in time, we do have the mayor sitting here.
yes.
And you do have the finance director. Those are the 2 collaborative people that would be able to tell you what is needed to occupy the facility.
Now we had a meeting with the mayor's office, and Mike Smedley was very helpful with actually letting us know about the facility, what were the dynamics of the facility, and letting us know that that would have to be a partnership agreement, that not only that their office have to support it, that the council would have to support it as well. And so they have been very supportive of letting us use the, because originally last summer, to kind of explain how we got there in the first place, we had a giant flood, and the flood wiped out all of our books, it wiped out everything. And it was very devastating because we had 70 students that now didn't have a place to be able to eat. Even if they were to take the other classrooms up in the church, they didn't have an area that was big enough. And so when we called the mayor's office, kind of in a frenzy trying to figure it out, they immediately directed us over there and put that in place so that we could occupy that space within the next day. And so that was very immediate, it was very effective. And so this year when we came back, want to be proactive about it and say, okay, we have this LMS Brown Center again. What can we do? Immediately, Mike Smedley met with our executive director, discussed it, and then let us know that the next step would be to reach out to council and particularly council member Baker to talk about what would we need to do to actually make that happen, to make that.
Okay, besides the agreement, I'm
Yes,
talking about
the financial.
No, I'm not talking about the financial. I'm talking about when I was at a meeting with at the county said there's a lot of things that has to be fixed and repaired. And we wouldn't, and like I said, it's not for me to say what is there and what is not and what has to be fixed. I think it's an ideal place and it's up out of the way and it can house what you're looking for. But I'm saying is it safe, the safety committee and all of that, is it viable? And has the mayor agreed that, and Smedley agreed that you can move in there? The council has no problem because we're all excited about it. Our councilman has brought it forth. So if that's fine with you, I think my council would be ecstatic. They seem to be ready to invite you to come on in. But I don't want it to come back and say, okay, council, this needs to be done and that needs to be done, and you get disappointed.
Right. So I guess we would just ask that our next steps would be to then be able to have that meeting and find out directly with our executive director, what does the LMS Brown Center look like? What would this agreement entail? And then we would just come up with a memorandum of understanding that says, this is what we're able to do for the summer. This is our agreement to kind of take out the space, and this is the information that we'll pick up on.
Follow the process.
Yes.
Okay. All right, dear. Anybody else got anything?
When you had the floods, you were in New Life Cathedral?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, is there anyone else that a council up here? And I think you have the sentiment of the council. And if you all sit down and have a meeting and Councilman Baker and the State Safety Committee come to agreement with the mayor and all of you all that everything is safe for kids and everybody to go in? Is there any questions on that?
No.
Yes, sir. Mr. King?
Yes.
If the community would like to view the proposal submitted, it's always available for public record.
Were you gonna say something, Andrew?
Yes, thank you for coming down. I show you. I've read the proposal, it looks good, and I really appreciate agency doing something for the kids and getting them excited about reading and civic engagement. Just so that we kind of have all the bases covered. I know you carry your own insurance,
Yes.
but it may be worthwhile to have your insurance agent do a walkthrough, right? That way when he puts the city on as a rider, he knows what he's covering and how it looks before he starts covering.
Okay. Absolutely.
I think that's part of the sit-down agreement
Yeah.
and that they might come up with what's gonna happen. That's one of the things I was talking about, but I don't want to be specific because when y'all put together an agreement, all those things are in there, and I'm sure that the law director will be party to all of that. So, as my council has said, our council has said they're glad to have you.
Thank
but
you.
there is a process. Follow the process.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you. Okay. Legislation.
Resolution number 1650, second reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to sell certain inoperable surplus vehicles through auction to scrap dealers or to sell the complete lot of salvage city vehicles through competitive bidding.
This is the second reading, and who is the sponsor?
Councilor King?
Huh? Okay, Councilor King, this is your resolution 1615. What is your desire?
Thank you, Council President. I will support this and move for its adoption. I actually went and looked at the vehicles. And, you know, it just, after a while, it becomes a situation where you're just hoarding stuff. So, you know, I mean, you could look at taking the tire off of one car, putting it on another car, you know, but does that tire fit? Does that rim fit? How much man hour and time do you waste? Is it tire gonna last a month, 2 months? If you look at the list here, the latest model car is in 2005. So we're not talking about grandma's car. We're talking about police vehicles that are driven sometimes 24 hours a day, and they take a major beat. These vehicles are inoperable. So I move for its adoption.
Is there a second?
Are you in discussion?
I'm sorry, discussion, I'm sorry. You know what, I really am glad that individuals can remind me that sometimes we skip something by accident, but it is brought to the attention of this chair from the audience, which is the council only. So is there a discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The resolution in question, I can agree with Councilman King regarding the wear and tear of the vehicles, and coming from a police background and observing our police department as well, and the amount of calls, the amount of extreme cases of pursuits, whereas they probably have to go over a curb or something like that. And in talking to our city mechanic that works on the police cars, he has utilized those cars as quick parts stores. So he's taken every viable part he could off of those cars at some point, especially the because we were still using the Chargers. Looking at an engine, okay, you might have some question and concern there, but understand that engine runs 24 hours and then it's put on another shift for 24 hours. And then let's say we wreck a car. Now that car is even more overworked. So understand that much. At some point, you know, we do have a hoard mentality. You know, I've tried to peruse these vehicles. You know, I see a 2002, a 97, a 03. It's a liability at this point for us. And again, I can bring Frank in here, and he can tell you, I've watched him take parts off the other cars. You know, when they blow a tire, he took a tire off another car, or the malfunction of wiring, you know, due to the radio. He takes the radio out. He takes the light bars off. He's taken off the, you know, the rear lights and the front lights. He's taken off tubing within the engine. Those things have been done consecutively, and they're still going on now. The only problem the only upside to our vehicle inventory right now is that we have 2 brand new trucks. One got wrecked because I guess somebody hit them, and then we have the Tauruses that we're doing. We don't have to go to the Chargers anymore to replace parts on the Tauruses. We don't have to. The majority of the convicts, with the exception of the last 2 K9 cars we bought, we have to go no longer to those cars as well. So we don't have to go anymore to those cars. So just keep in mind of the list of things, and then you get to the electrical truck and the salt truck. Again, who's gonna fix that? It takes more money to fix it. You know, and I would love to send it back out again But you know, is anybody in this room willing to pay for it to run an ad again in the newspaper?
In a running ad.
So whatever ad was ran, wherever it was ran, at some point we have to run our ad free. And you can have your own opinion, and that's by all means your residents, and I'm a resident as well. I'm just saying that, you know, even if I vote no on this, I'm just saying that you need to understand police vehicles a little bit more, and East Cleveland police vehicle.
Is there any more discussion? Yes, sir.
I'm speaking in general. It doesn't have to
I just, I'm not a mechanic,
I'm not.
but I do drive a PT Cruiser, which is a 2001, which is basically 14 or 15 years old. Okay, it's still running. If I got into a major problem, which is all I got right now. What I know is that we're talking about getting $17,000 for these vehicles for the whole group. From some research I've done, the trucks alone are worth about $10,000 each. These are trucks, okay? The metal alone on the trucks. The 3 trucks are worth, from what I've been looking into, it could be worth $30,000. It should have been offered to the citizens to bid on these, which that didn't happen.
Exactly.
But my major concern is this. We were told that these were advertised in the plain dealer. And we've asked at the last council meeting to provide the documentation that they were advertised in the plain dealer. All I can say to you, we haven't seen that documentation. And last, Dodge Chargers, which is a pretty popular police car lately. The Chargers, the headlights and taillights are worth close to $500. So if you look at these numbers, we can almost get double what we're getting. Now, I don't know about what Mansell said, but I do know that it happens that we asked council, the entire council, we asked to see the advertisement in the plain dealer. We have not seen that documentation. Okay, and based on that, my feeling, and I don't want to be an obstructionist here, but my feeling is if we can't get the basic documentation, and if these vehicles be worth maybe $30,000, $40,000 from junk dealers, if it hasn't been advertised so people haven't stepped up, I can't rush through this right now. Now, if I get something that shows that we got it out to all these junk dealers who they make their money on this kind of stuff, then I'm comfortable with it. But right now, that's not here, that's not transparent, that's not apparent right now. So I will not vote for this. However, if the documentation is provided to this council, which should be, then I'm willing to change my vote. Right? But I gotta act on factual information. And all government is about process and procedures. Thank you.
Mr. Councilman Martin,
Yes.
I would like to have the clerk clarify what was asked for and exactly what took place with the advertisement. Would you please?
We sent the email to.
They can't hear you. Can you say
We
that?
sent the email to Mr. Antonio Marshall on behalf of council 3 weeks ago, requesting how the bids were received, and he sent a breakdown to all the counselors, and then it was in your packages 2 weeks ago, and it stated that a request for bids was emailed and faxed to all the area salvage companies, and it listed what they needed the request for bids back on. And you have the packet in front of you now of what they received in.
I can comment.
Yes.
And you came before us and also presented it.
Agreeing with Mansell as far as the cars, they're worn out. If I just did the math, and if you take a police car one shift, in 1 year's time, it's done 36,500 miles for just one shift. And running at 2 shifts, that's 73,000 miles in a year on one car. And that's just going constantly. So when they're dead, those cars. As far as the cost of the scrap, you know, we couldn't even find places to park in City Hall, so many junk cars around. People been screaming for the longest, saying we were gonna get rid of them. Then we put them down at the service center, and they all look along the fence. Folks say, well, that's an eyesore. Then when we go to get rid of them, they say, well, we're not getting enough money. Can we hold up again? I think if the paperwork is done proper and it's correct, then we move forward. Let's move on. That's my thought.
Can I piggyback on that?
Yes.
Because I agree with you. We need to move on. And I don't know the price of a brand new police vehicle. It couldn't be more than 30.
Yes,
About
it is.
30,000. So to believe that a used, an over 10-year-old vehicle is worth 30 to 40, not running,
No.
absolutely not. One thing I do know is that scrap metal is priced by the weight, right? And I've taken plenty of stuff down there. And what happens is you get on a scale, they weigh it, and then they pay it, right? You may have material on there that's worth more than some other material that's on there, but unless you're gonna separate that material yourself, you're just gonna get the flat rate of what they're gonna offer per ton. And it's in one of these documents. Just to reiterate, wasn't parking space outside, moved the vehicles to Eddie Road, got complaints about an eyesore on Eddie Road, now we wanna get rid of them. I say we get rid of them, and I support this 1615, move for its adoption.
Okay, was there a second? Someone
On the
second?
second.
Okay. And we had discussion, ready for the vote.
Counselor King,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
No,
Counselor Baker,
No,
Counselor Wheeler,
Yeah.
Counselor Thomas.
Yay.
Swing vote.
Resolution number 1715, resolution authorizing the mayor to sell certain inoperable surplus vehicles through auction, to scrap vehicles, or to sell the complete lot of salvage city vehicles through competitive bidding. Request by Police Department, sponsored by Counselor Brandon King.
Brandon, 1715 is on second reading.
1715 is more of the same. I vote for its adoption.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
same thing.
I said discussion, you don't know discussion? Okay. Okay, since there's no discussion, Madam Clerk, call for the vote.
Counselor Martin,
No,
Counselor King,
Yay.
Counselor Baker,
no,
Counselor Wheeler,
Yeah.
Counselor Thomas.
Yay.
Resolution number 1815, second reading, a resolution authorizing the mayor to donate an inoperable lawnmower to the East Cleveland Park Association. Request by Service Department, sponsored by Counselor Brandon King.
The 1715 passed, I didn't hear her say that.
Yeah.
This
She is out there, I don't remember her saying it.
passed.
Okay, I didn't hear you say it.
Resolution 1815 is on second, reading, sponsored by, Counselor King. What is your preference?
I support 1815, and as you remember, gentlemen was here a few weeks ago, and we talked about this at length, and move for its adoption.
I second the motion.
Discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to say that the guy was here a couple of weeks ago, an older guy who's been working up in the park, and he made a presentation to us, and I'm totally okay with this. This
Gordon Hayes.
Gordon Hayes, a nice guy.
President.
I think the Forest Hill Park Association.
Okay. The discussion, no second?
Second,
I second.
discussion, I would like to just note that the East Cleveland Parks Association has put in a lot of work with the parks and the maintenance of the park and support and donations and rallying the business community and our outside partners to come in and help invest into our park. I've spoken to a few people about this piece of legislation. I see no problem with him receiving the lawnmower to still continue the maintenance up there. He'll put it in the shop, they'll get it serviced, and they'll continue to provide additional services that our park doesn't so firmly need at this point.
If there's no more discussion, Madam Chair, would you call the roll?
Counselor Burton,
Yay.
Counselor King,
Yeah.
Counselor Baker,
Yay.
Counselor Wheeler,
Yeah.
Counselor Thomas,
Yeah.
passes unanimously.
Okay. Remarks and requests of the public. How
3
many minutes?
minutes only, 15 minutes, 5 people, take up 5 people, 3 minutes each.
5 people.
Well, actually, you have 15 minutes total. So until 5 minutes. Reverend,
15 minutes total.
Mayor Norton, good evening, Mayor Norton, Honorable Mayor Norton, Honorable President Thomas, and Honorable Council Members Deacon